Yeah.
Oh God, we'll see how we get on. Hello people, it's your boy Usmaan back again with another video. This is the first time we're doing a podcast with rival fans. So what we need from you is to let us know if you enjoyed this, because hopefully when the season's actually eventually back on, we can do this regularly and have a bit of banter with the rival fans as the weeks go. Anyways, as always, drop a like, subscribe, very close to 500. So hopefully we can achieve that in the near future. It's completely bleeding free, so it's all good. Anyways, I'm joined here by Daniel, first and foremost, Chelsea fan. Daniel, how are you, bro?
Doing good, bro. I'm doing good. Daniel, one half of Eyes on the Ball TV. Make sure you
Yes,
follow
yes,
us on all platforms. Um,
100%.
but yeah, man, I'm lovely to be on.
Yeah, well, we had you on prior to the Man U and Chelsea FA Cup game, and obviously, to be fair to you, very level-headed in that. But fair play, you smacked us up in that game. But yeah, all the socials will be down below for the guys, as he's already mentioned. He's got podcasts to check that out as well. Also joined by Keishan. I believe it's your first time, maybe possibly. I'm not
It
sure.
is,
Well, not
yeah,
first
yeah.
time, but in a while. Anyways, Keishan obviously sports Spurs. Good times for you. Obviously, we'll let you discuss that a bit later on. How are you feeling, Kish?
Yeah, I'm very, very good. It's great to be on here, and yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you sound really happy to be on, Kish. Yeah, you sound really really enthusiastic.
There's not much to be happy about being a Spurs fan. So yeah,
Yeah, I will touch upon that a bit later on. Obviously, you know, bloody Kojo, regular. As I always say, every show. He's got 2 podcasts. Make sure you show him love on both the podcasts. Drop him a like. And like I said, all their socials will be down below. Anyways, we're talking Premier League football, as it says in the title. We're going to be recapping on the season. Any transfers news that you want us to go over, any questions, get them in the comments down below. Right, so we're going to start with the FA Cup because we have to start with that. And like I said to the boys prior, as you guys know, I support Man United. It's a Man United channel, but I'm going to try and be as neutral as I possibly can and potentially stick up for Arsenal fans before they give me shit in the chat and say I'm salty over an FA Cup win. Anyways, we're going to start with Chelsea fan. Daniel, how are you feeling, mate? A couple of days, after what must have been a traumatic experience for you, going 1-0 up and then obviously, well, basically throwing it away, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, obviously on my page, I gave like a 2-minute review of the game straight after the game. A lot of people were saying I was a bit too level-headed for a game of that magnitude. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the facts. Before I get into let's say why we lost or why I believe because there are a lot of reasons as to why we lost. If we talk about the game as a whole and just look at the game and separate everything that happened, we deserve to lose the game because after we scored, I think we had a nice 15-minute period at the beginning of the first half where we were on top of them, pressing them. They were making mistakes. Pulisic was looking dangerous like he always does. But then we just slumped back for some reason. I don't know if we were tired. I don't know if instructions weren't being taken on board. It didn't really make sense to me because we slumped back, but we were playing a high line. So it was kind of counterproductive. And they were obviously exploiting that through the long balls to Aubameyang. I don't know if you guys have seen this Twitter thread. I think Tactical Role, someone on Twitter broke down the reasons why we lost. And they overloaded the left-hand side, right-hand side.
Yeah, your right-hand side. Yeah, their left-hand
Yeah,
side.
our right-hand side. And it left so much space for Pepe to be isolated with Alonso and whatnot. And it just wasn't looking good. And I think tactically, Lampard got outsmarted a bit because he didn't react to the problems we were facing. But yeah, that's to do with the game. But in regards to the intangibles, I think Pulisic going off, I think that affected the game a lot. He's our game changer, and that basically changed the game. I think it was a game where class was definitely the defining thing. Aubameyang on one side, Pulisic on the other. Pulisic gets our goal, Aubameyang gets both of their goals. So we didn't have our game changer on the pitch, and especially in a team like the team we have now, not having Pulisic is a big miss for us. And then I know people are going to maybe say I'm a bit salty, but I think on the balance of things, if you watch the game, I think the referee didn't give us a fair chance to compete in that game.
Arsenal fans are going to be happy with that comment.
He didn't give us a fair chance to compete in that game. I'm sorry, man. A lot of bad decisions.
We'll bring Kish in because obviously regarding the game itself, you know, you've spoken a lot about the way they tactically beat you. Kish, what were your thoughts? You know, first of all, like we watched the game together. First and foremost, I think
one of the initial things both me and yourself said during the game was the intensity from Chelsea for the first 15-20 minutes was spot on. I mean, Arsenal could not get out of their own half for the first 15, 20. Every single time an Arsenal player had the ball, every Chelsea player was surrounding them. It was a bit like Pep at Man City, where if the opposition player has the ball, they literally surround him, and that's what happened. And they were well deserving of their lead in terms of getting the first goal. But tactically, I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what your take on this, Daniel, is. But I think every time for the whole game, it was literally one lofted ball from the Arsenal defence, and one of the Arsenal defenders is one-on-one with either the last defender or the goalkeeper, and it constantly kept happening, not just in the first half, but the second half. And surely something like that has to be the manager. You know, the manager has to know that there's something seriously wrong for that to happen. It's literally amateur football in terms of defending, where you loop one ball and the attacker is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It happened on many different, occasions.
Aspilicueta and James, I think Aspilicueta got a lot of stick, to be fair. And obviously we're not injured, but I thought James was at fault for quite a lot of those instances.
He was. I agree.
Kodjo, we'll come to you. Obviously, the both spoken about tactics and how Lampard potentially got outsmarted. I know you're a coach yourself. You know, you took your team from 6th to 3rd. You got, I think your tactics as well, Kodjo. You know, you of all people, go on, tell us the masterclass that is going to Sacha Arteta.
I don't do that one time, Jesus. Anyway, no, I think these guys are spot on. I think when Aspilicueta got injured and he came off the pitch, they encountered a big problem because I think they lost a bit of balance in the back three with Christensen coming in. Hasn't been in good form this season. And as you said about James's positioning defensively isn't good enough. So they exploited that big time. You can't give Aubameyang a lot of space down that side to come and exploit what I thought was going to be a weaker side once.
Sorry to interrupt quickly. It's only because I've picked up on something. I think we shouldn't be too quick to say that James was at fault, because if you looked at the game as a whole, I think what Lampard was trying to do is he was trying to keep our wing backs very, very high up the pitch. So I think that's more Lampard's fault as opposed to it being Reece James's fault. Because if you look at when we played the likes of Liverpool, even though obviously we still got beaten that game, James was quite reserved and he was pulled back in a lot of the game. So he wanted to take Arsenal's Aubameyang and Pepe. He wanted to push them further back the pitch, if that makes sense. I don't think it was his fault, but yeah,
fair,
I get what you're saying.
Which is fair.
At least James comes back, but Alonso,
yeah.
Alonso's criminal.
I've never seen a guy who's so lazy in my life.
Alonso's criminal for that. He's criminal for that. But I'm not trying to like single out James. I'm just trying to say that it was kind of smart to do that, because as much as you're trying to push him forward, Aubameyang also knows how to push back, and they sort of exploited that in one way or another. It wasn't like a horrible performance. I think obviously there's something you can improve on, but you are also right. We also have to question the manager on that as well, because it was quite easy, as Kishan was saying, to keep going down that side and then giving Pepe a lot of space down the left on the other side to be one-on-one with Alonso, who defensively just doesn't cut it.
We've got a comment here before we go on to the referee, because I know that is going to be a major talking point. Obviously, Arsenal fans probably don't want to speak about it. I know Daniel probably does. Just got a comment here. I'll throw this to you, Daniel. And I felt the exact same. As soon as Pulisic went off, it seemed like your attacking threat basically diminished completely. It seemed like you had nothing going forward. Lampard didn't make any changes until later on. It seemed like he didn't trust any of the players on the bench. You know, you bought Pedro before Hudson-Odoi. You know, Pedro's leaving literally after that game. You know, hopefully he's got speed recovery as well.
I will explain that, but yeah, I totally agree with the comment. Like, if you remember, if you track back to when we spoke about the United game and we had the United preview, I was saying that FA Cup semi-finals form kind of goes out the window when it's about certain players on the pitch. Can they show up? Can they have exceptional games, if that makes sense? The same thing goes for the final. I don't think Arsenal and Chelsea have had great seasons in terms, like, if you're looking at it as a whole, they haven't had the most spectacular of seasons, and they have clear faults. Both of their defenses are not that great, and both of their attacks can be great in moments. And what it was going to come down to is what defense was going to collapse first. And obviously, Chelsea's defense was obviously the one frailty. Like having Pulisic kind of gives us balance. We attack so much with Pulisic that he can give us the goals, so that if we do concede, we have enough goals already scored, so that it's not a problem, if that makes sense. But Pulisic, like I said already, our game changer coming off the pitch. Aubameyang, their game changer being on the pitch, and that was the difference, really and
truly.
truly.
To be fair as well to you, Daniel, it wasn't just Pulisic, it was Kovacic in my opinion as well.
Yeah, 100%.
That first half was fantastic at breaking up play in midfield and kind of driving forward against the Arsenal defence and kind of starting the attacks. He was really, really good. I think there was a run that he did in the first half. Do you remember, Usmaan, where he literally went past about 3-4?
Yeah, and from a tight position.
It was a quality run. And I think losing him in the second half as well kind of completely demolished your attack.
Well, let's speak about Kovacic. Obviously, we've got a few comments, in the comment section. We'll touch upon them shortly. Look, I'm going to come to Kojo as the only neutral here because, of course, both of you are London-based fans, so to speak. So me and Kojo are the neutrals for a change. Kojo, listen, speak to me. First and foremost, about the red cards or the second yellow and the referee's performance, because before these two get in, with the bias, I'll let you take the floor. I'm just going to turn the light on and keep talking.
You know what's crazy about that red card is even watching in real time, you saw that nothing really, truly, really happened. Like, it was just crazy. So, as a referee, you can see that now. I know they don't really tend to go to VAR too tough for yellow cards, but in this situation where you're going to give a red card, I feel like you really have to go to it in this situation. There was no foul. There was absolutely no foul whatsoever. There was no stud shown. There was no sort of aggressiveness. It was two players going for the ball. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, it looked like the who was the Arsenal player that got hurt? Was Xhaka. Xhaka. It looked like his foot went on top of Kovacic's. But either way, there is no foul whatsoever. And in terms of the overall performance, it was just shocking. It was a poor performance. This one gets brushed under the carpet a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Martinez handle the ball before it went into the box also?
See, this is where Sky confirmed. BT confirmed it afterwards. That actually the full ball wasn't over his
over
box.
The line. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw that initially. If you look at the initial pictures, you're like, "What the hell has gone off?"
I thought it was handball initially. I've got to be honest.
This is my thing as well. If you're gonna make wrong decisions in other areas, at least make a wrong decision where you can be wrong. My thing is, how do you look at Martinez come out for that ball and not think he handled it outside? Because everyone thought it was handled outside, and so he was suddenly so confident.
Yeah, but he trusted the linesman, didn't he?
We already know the linesmen never see these things. They're never there. They're actually never there.
Well, it was the right decision, wasn't it, Daniel? So that's how that matters. Listen, Daniel, before we go on to Arteta, who was your man of the match? The ref or Aubameyang? What do you reckon?
No, do you know what? I said it in my review as well. Obviously, Aubameyang is the man of the match. He scored the 2 goals. He was the game changer. But I actually think Dani Ceballos deserves a huge mention, because I think my thing for me is that I'm a huge fan of the eye test, and that's why Kovacic is in my opinion, one of the best centre-mids in the Premier League, because he doesn't get the stats. And if you don't watch the game,
facts.
Sorry, I just got something on the throat.
Also facts.
No, of course. But yeah, he is one of the best. He's part of that elite group, in my opinion. And Dani Ceballos, he's slowly making his way there, man.
Two Real Madrid players, mate. You know
exactly.
Yeah.
Not a coincidence. That what he does.
Potentially Pogba as well, Real Madrid. Just throwing that out before someone says it.
Take that back, man.
I'm just saying what the comments. I know the comments are going to say it.
Nah, Danny, man, he's dogged. He works hard, and then going forward with the ball, his distribution is very, very good. He's quality. He's literally the mirror image of Kovacic, in my opinion, in many ways. So yeah,
that's high praise. I massively do rate Kovacic as well.
Yeah,
it's an absolute baller. Before we do move on, obviously, Arsenal fans, don't worry. We're gonna give you your props. 14 FA Cups for the Gunners. Yes, you are the most decorated club in the competition. Also, it means that Spurs have to play. I forgot what it's called now.
Why are you making me out like that, man?
Listen, Kish. No, we let Kojo come because obviously I know you're going to be a lot of praise, Kish, for Arteta and everything. Kojo, we come to you first and foremost, mate. Arteta, talk to me. Arsenal fans are saying this is just, it's factual information. He's been in the job for 7 months. He's got a trophy. Spurs not won one in 13 years. Kojo, talk to me, Arteta. Is he better than Partridge? Is he better than every other chat?
Oh wow!
This is sending above the extreme. No, he's not. He's not better, but he's done his thing so far. I have to give him praise for
Absolutely
bringing the FA Cup into the club in a short couple of months. So he's done a good job so far. The thing about Arsenal is it's taken a long time for Arsenal fans to realise this, but this team needs a whole load of work. And they're always talking about, if we sign a DM, despite criticising all their centre backs for God knows how many years, if they sign a DM, suddenly they'll be up there. They now realise that it's a lot more than just signing DMs. They're no longer satisfied with Lacazette. They want better, and they feel like this man, who is a very good coach, has the ability to bring them to that level. And I kind of agree, but again, it all comes with being backed. So
I've got a question here. As Arsenal fans are going to think I'm chatting, but is Aubameyang, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, is Aubameyang papering over the cracks and making Arteta look better? Because let's be real, for me personally, as a neutral watching that game, and I'm going to give Arsenal credit for the way they played against Man City and Sheffield United. I thought they were fantastic this game. But against Chelsea, for me, I don't think they even did anything. Like, granted, they were the better team, but Chelsea was so poor, apart from that 15-minute spell when they just literally went past them with ease.
I don't particularly agree. I mean, of course, him scoring the goals and getting 30 a season and getting the FA Cup will help paper over the cracks a little bit. That's something that Arsenal fans have done for a long time, though. They've always paper over cracks. They win the FA Cup and suddenly they're back again. That's not how football works. But it shows a little bit of progression. The fact that they won that game against City in such a manner after coming back from lockdown and getting slapped 3-0 in the first meeting, it shows a little bit of something. Even if it's just a bit of more fight, a bit more hunger, a bit more determination to win a game. It's something they've been missing here and there. So I can give them a bit of praise for it, but I don't think it's completely covering over the cracks.
I disagree, actually. I think it is.
Oh, go on, Daniel. Tell him.
Here we go.
You have to look at it like this. Arteta obviously came in, and obviously people were saying he was improving the team, but if you looked at the results weren't actually improving. So what he's done now is he's created a team which now works. He's trying to be defensively solid and try and play on the counter-attack. If you take Aubameyang out of that team cannot score the goals or the decisive one-on-one chances you get in certain games. You get what I'm saying? There's only so much you can do defensively. You have to try and score. And that's what Arsenal have been able to do. They've had the players to do that.
Made them harder to beat.
Exactly.
He's made that Arsenal they've not had that toughness in a long time.
Which is taken over in the cracks.
That in itself is a bit of an improvement. They're not like, it's not leaps and bounds. They're still, because they went from
take time, innit?
Yeah, they went from what? Where were they when he took the job? Was it they 10th, 8th?
No,
Something
they were
like that?
8th.
So they've been in the same area pretty much since he came in.
Yeah.
I don't expect much from this squad. So when he took them over, I wasn't expecting much improvement anyway. But I feel like sometimes, rather than just looking at the results, because Arsenal's team just isn't good enough for keeping it a buck, we just have to look at the small things he's doing to try and make these improvements bit by bit. They got to take their time. They can't come out and say, yes,
you do know that front three of Pepe, Lacazette and Aubameyang is almost 200 million. Just
exactly.
That front three.
Yeah.
It's not as if people say
they don't play good football though.
It's a bad team, but they've spent almost 200 million pounds on those three players.
And they haven't progressed with it. They haven't moved this true.
And even to add to that, what you have to remember is this is what people forget. Backing is everything. If you remember Pep's first season when he came into the Premier League, he didn't have the squad that he wanted, and he started playing free at the back as well. If you remember games against Chelsea, he was trying to match up with Conte. Games against Leicester, where Leicester completely dominated them at the King Power, trying to go free at the back. He was just making use of the squad that he had, and that's what Arteta is doing now. I can give him credit for doing that, especially for it being his first job. But I'm not going to over. Like,
that's what they do. That's what they do.
The thing is, that's kind of where I was going with the question. And look, Arsenal fans, I don't want you to think we've been salty because huge credit to Arteta for winning the trophy with that. When I was watching the ceremony, right, obviously Aubameyang dropped the trophy, but beside that, looking at the guys lifting that trophy, and with all due respect, they are shit players.
They are.
They are. I'm not even. And I'm sure Arsenal, I'm not saying in a negative way. I'm saying the fact that he's won a trophy with them, fair play to him. Because when I was looking at them guys, I was thinking, how has he done it? Like,
I agree. they're harder to beat, which is something that again is
Yeah.
not that you've not really said to. If by watching Arsenal, you've never said they're a hard team to beat. You've always said that they're soft in the core. You know what to do against them to beat them. That's something that he's changed. But
well, no, cojones, according to Troy Deeney, has been relegated now, isn't it?
Yeah, but in terms of has he made a massive difference to the actual club and the results? Have they improved from last season? No, not really, in my opinion, in the league. And in terms of Arsenal winning the trophy, they won the FA Cup in 2017. They lost in the Europa League final last year. So in terms of Arsenal winning trophies, they have won the FA Cup on a regular basis.
With a better team at that time as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
true.
even Wenger at the end was still winning. I think they won 2 FA Cups on the trot. They always do well in these one-off, occasions, in the FA Cup and other domestic competitions.
Kish, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Spurs need to take notes or what?
To be honest,
let's talk about Spurs.
I do think sometimes as well. There's, we've had our best team in my lifetime, and we've not won anything. Simple as that. But again, I think sometimes it's a bit of the rub of the green, because if you look on paper, Man City against Arsenal in that semi-final, City just didn't turn up. For how good Arsenal were, City did not turn up at all. We rave about De Bruyne this season, but did he turn up at all in that game against Arsenal?
No.
Did Sterling turn up at all? So
no.
Sometimes you do need I'm not saying again it's fantastic that they won the
luck,
FA
don't
Cup,
you? Basically,
but you do need a bit of luck sometimes. And I think with us we've just not had that rub of the green in the past, and that's probably what's cost unfortunately Pochettino as well.
Can't you say that's a bit of your that's your fault though? Because when you look at it, in some scenarios, I won't criticize you for not winning the Premier League the year Leicester won it, because that was tough. You were obviously chasing Leicester, so that's obviously going to be difficult. Yeah. But in terms of cup competitions, for example, League Cup semi-final against Chelsea, second leg, it was poor. It was poor then. I can't remember specifically, but there's been instances where Tottenham haven't played their best team, stuff like that.
That does go down to
that a lot
in a way, because against Man United we lost in the semis and we 1-0 up. Dele Alli scored and then we lost 2-1.
Is that the one where Dele Alli was dancing?
Yeah, that was the one. The one where Matic scored an absolute screamer from about 30-40 yards. Remember that?
Chelsea, yeah.
That game we were actually the better team.
No, you dominated. But 4-2.
But again, it's down to game management. And
he loves it.
Yeah.
Listen. Let's not go off track here. I don't care about what's happened in the past year. I'll just banter you for the sake of it. Let's talk about Jose Mourinho, because obviously we all speak about Man United on this channel, and we will talk about Oli soon, coach. Don't worry. And of course, some of the transfers. Finally, be happy and say his name at the same time. It's madness. Right? Okay. Listen, I will start with Kojo first, and then I'll go around obviously to Daniel, then I'll come to you, Kish, because I know you've got a lot to say on this matter. Jose Mourinho, we had him for 2.5 years. You know what it's about. I know what it's about. Obviously, to be fair, this is a perfect panic because Daniel's had him as well. So, we all know what I'm going with Jose. Listen, Kojo, first and foremost, he's finished 6th, celebrated like he won the Champions League, but, each to their own. It's all good. Not throwing any shade in it. That's Jose. He loves it. But what are your thoughts on Jose, how he's done so far? Because in his defense, the team he inherited from Poch, you could tell mentally they were just finished when they even Poch said it. He couldn't get them going again. So he's kind of done all right in a sense. He's got to 6th. What's your assessment of Jose and Spurs this season?
I genuinely don't know what to make of him right now, because if we go back, I remember Poch did say that the rebuild will be painful. So I feel like that's what Spurs are going through right now, regardless of whoever the manager would have been, whether it's him or if Poch has stayed. I think it wouldn't have been much of a difference. The team needs a lot of change. And the season they finished second behind Chelsea was the year they should have really backed the manager to improve the team further, gone that step further. That's what Mourinho is going with right now. So obviously they signed Ndombele under Poch. They brought Lo Celso on loan before they made it permanent, all that.
Baller.
I love Lo Celso. I don't know what to make of it, because I can understand the frustration from the fans about his football, his selections, because Ndombele is just not getting enough game time. It's not even about just starting. He's just not getting enough game time in general. But 6 is okay.
But we were there last year, weren't we? So
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. They got to Europa League. He just didn't want to miss out on European football, which I think is important anyway. So I genuinely don't know what to make of him, but I will say this. Our biggest mistake was when we finished second behind City. Obviously, they got 100 points, weren't near them, but we finished second, and we didn't back him where he wanted to back, improve the team the most. If he does get into a situation where he improves the Spurs side, gets you better, and then your board don't back him where you really need to back him, the pain you're gonna feel, I don't think you want to feel it. He's gonna
throw everybody under the
it's
bus.
gonna be so painful. Because I don't like bringing this up, but bro, if you want to go back and watch Man United versus Sevilla, and then you'll understand the pain. That's the worst.
Speaking of pain, I'm sure Daniel can relate. A certain individual got thrown under the bus, which cost Jose his job in the end on the second spell. Listen, look, fair enough, he's got top 6. I do think he does need to be backed. Daniel, first and foremost, what is your sort of opinions of him being this season? I feel like they've ended the season really well, to be fair, with Kane finally hitting some form. So what's your assessment been of Jose?
I mean, it's football heritage, isn't it? But Jose, I think to say he's improved Tottenham. When he came in, they were 12th and they're 6th. So he's improved them visibly. You can see that on the table. Even after lockdown, I believe Tottenham were like 9th after lockdown, and they managed to get to 6th. So he's definitely improved the team. Like, he shut a lot of people up. Paul Merson was saying Harry Kane's going to suffer in the Jose team, but in an injury hit season, I think Harry Kane has hit 22 in all comps, 21 in all comps. So like he shut a lot of people up, and no one can tell me, because I'm a Jose man. As much as he's annoying and he does crazy stuff, I'm still a Jose man, innit? And I love the guy, innit? I love what he brings to Premier League football in general, innit? So like Tottenham, I think they're just going through a weird patch. I think they were allowed to celebrate getting into the Europa League, bearing in mind where when he came in, they were so far back. I think it was over celebrating, but he's allowed to celebrate it. I just think they're in a weird patch because obviously with the new stadium, I believe the money's not there and it's not really there to back the manager all the way. So they need to be kind of smart with investments. And Mourinho hasn't really, I don't think there's been a team where he's been smart with investments. He's always had money to just go out and buy whoever he wanted to buy.
Porto was the last one, which is
Porto, exactly. Yeah. So like, it's just gonna be difficult for him. But it's because Mourinho is the type of guy he's jealous. When he sees other people spending and other people getting the players he wants, he's gonna make that known. He's not gonna shut up about it, and that's a problem. Man United getting Sancho, Chelsea getting Havertz. Even if Arsenal make maybe a big sign, I mean, if they get Coutinho, Willian, but he's gonna see all of this and gonna think, "Where's my players as well?" Like he wants his players as well. So yeah, they're going. It's weird for Tottenham. It's weird.
Yeah. I think that's a good point that you made regarding obviously a new stadium, etc. So I think that definitely be a hindrance. In terms of signings, I'm surprised he's not signed Perisic. Which leads me on nicely to the Dembele situation. It seems like that's an absolute shambles. What are your thoughts on that and the way Jose dealt with that? Obviously, I think
that's a really weird situation because for me personally, at the beginning, I did cut Ndombele a lot of slack. But I think when he has played and when Mourinho has given him a chance, and even before Mourinho, Pochettino, on the ball, he's fantastic. You know, he drives through that midfield. When you give him the ball, he makes things happen. You know, he gets people into play. Without the ball, he's an absolute shambles. It's a bit like Ozil at Arsenal, where on the ball he's fantastic, but without it, it's like he's a passenger. And if you look at any of Mourinho's teams in the past, you can't have a player that's not putting in a shift. He did that numerous times at United, where if anyone wasn't putting in a shift, sometimes he criticised Rashford for not tracking back. He will slate you for it, and I think it's a difficult situation now because I feel like the board, Daniel Levy, wants to keep Ndombele because he's spent a lot of money.
Can I just interrupt you there? Because you just said something that reminds me very similar. Exactly the same situation as us, right? The board wanted to keep Martial and Pogba, and Jose wanted them both out. So
this is literally what's happened. But I do feel like he'll give him one more season to see where he's at because I think that's why Højbjerg holds the key because the position that Højbjerg plays, he plays in that central defensive midfield. So if he plays him, then it lets Ndombele and the Chelsea play in a more advanced role, which for me on paper it's good midfield.
That to be fair,
exciting, yeah. And I think sort of moving on to I think if you want to look at any game this season, which kind of shows what Mourinho's trying to do with Tottenham, it was a game against Leicester recently, where it was counter-attacking football all the way through, defend, stay deep, and then get Leicester on the counter. And that is Mourinho's kind of imprint of the way he plays football. So, again, give him a chance. He hasn't had the chance to have his own players yet. Give him a season. Let's see what he can do. I think the one thing that we've got at Tottenham now that we've never really had is a manager that can attract. A lot of players will still want to play for someone like Mourinho. Zlatan said it, when he signed for United, that the main reason why he signed was because of Mourinho. And you will still have a lot of players that will want to, play with, be managed with Mourinho. So I'm still confident that although the finances aren't there to sign the very, very top players, I do feel like we can be clever with a couple of, player swap deals, loan deals as well. I think there's rumours about Coutinho coming. And of course, with,
I think Coutinho's heading to Arsenal. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, there's different opinions. There's things that every day it's different. So, you don't know. But I think he's got enough about him as a manager to still pull it around. And I think we mentioned this last week, where this is the first job since Porto where he doesn't have to win the league. His kind of goal isn't defined about winning the league anymore. Whereas at United, at Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter, it was all about, those big trophies. So for us, I think he's in a situation similar to Porto where the pressure is not on him to win leagues. It's to win domestic cups, top four. And it'll be interesting to see how that sort of lower pressure level can sort of, go for him really at somewhere like Tottenham.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think the in terms of pressure, apart from Porto, he's not really had a sort of moment that he's not under severe pressure. So potentially that could work in his favour. We'll have to wait and see. Listen, before we move on from the London clubs, I just want to ask you guys one question. Koji, we'll start with you first. What colour is London? What colour is it? Is it red? Is it blue? Is it white? I need to know the answer. I know the viewers want to know. Like I said, I'm going to be completely neutral here. I'm not going to give my opinion, Coach. We'll start with you.
I live near the Hammers, so I'm going claret and blue. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
I'm going claret and blue. That's what I'm going. You can make that face that I ain't repping your club. I like that.
No, he's absolutely bottled it, man. Daniel, what are you saying? Are you saying it's blue?
Just to point to that, they beat you this season. Just saying. So you shouldn't be repping them either.
You beat us too.
Everyone you shouldn't be repping them. You shouldn't be repping them.
You beat Man United, so you beat us.
West Ham beat us this. Oh, they did go Malenko, didn't you?
At home.
Yeah,
that makes sense. We smacked you 3 times this season, so maybe it's Chelsea.
Who won the most recent game?
I don't care.
When it mattered. When it mattered,
you didn't win the trophy.
When it mattered, who won?
You didn't win the trophy though.
When it mattered, who won?
Why did it matter?
When it was a level play. Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's actually funny? Apart from the League Cup win, there was no game which you fairly won. The first game of the season.
Wow.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
What about when Zuma almost killed Martial? What was that about? And nothing happened. Apparently it was a dive.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When the ball was a 50-50 and Marcel and Zuma jumped for it, and you're in.
Wait, you think that's a free kick?
Are you taking the piss? He literally went straight through Martial.
You couldn't see him. He's clearing the ball. You can't say that. Come on.
So what? It's a foul.
Anyway, it's not. Come on, man. Come on.
It's a foul. It doesn't matter if you can't see him. It needs to be more
come on, man.
Bro, it's a foul, man.
You're better than this. You know you're better than this. That's not a foul.
I'm not. Listen, Daniel, answer the question. Stop.
Nah, in all seriousness, though.
It's not blue or red.
In all seriousness, though, it is blue. Like you have to be. You have to be real with it. I don't know. There's the graphic. Obviously, I know people always say, "Oh, football didn't start in the year 2000," but places can change. Like. Based on the generations, based on the decades. A lot of Arsenal fans have never seen their team win the Premier League. That's a problem. Like they're in their big 23, 24, 25, and they've never seen their team win the Premier League. That's the problem. You can't tell me London's red if you've not seen your team win the Premier League.
Listen, all of them haven't seen the Champions League. So boy,
listen, fans, I want you to reply. Is London red or blue?
That's it. In my whole lifetime.
Yeah, listen. Spurs aren't in this combo. I'm not even gonna entertain that.
No European competition. London can't be red. I'm sorry, it just can't. It's impossible.
Okay, look, listen. You've heard it here first.
Is losing in the Champions League final. How do you think I feel?
Yeah. Well, Daniel's been there. John Terry missed the penalty, so it's all good. He can relate to that feeling.
I can. I'll let that slide.
Yeah, and obviously Liverpool fans can relate to sort of their captain slipping. It's all good, and we're fine shots. Listen, it's all relatable. Anyways, I just want to hear. You heard it here first. Daniel thinks it's blue. Kish, you didn't say blue or red. Obviously, you're not going to say white, are you? Unless you're high or something.
Well, obviously, listen. I'm going to stick to my club in it. That heritage, Harry Kane, and all of that. Yeah, I'm going to stick to white.
To be fair,
do you know what it is? As a Tottenham
you won more trophies than Chelsea this season, didn't you?
It's the hope that kills you.
You won more trophies than Chelsea, didn't you? Audi Cup and all that, so you know.
In our whole history, Audi Cup in it. You look at all of our.
Oh my god!
Yo, it's a trophy, man. It's a trophy.
Oh, it's a big trophy, you know, the Audi Cup and that.
Yeah, listen, that's the reason Harry Kane and Jose are here, man. The serial winners. Anyways, let's move on.
You wait for pre-season when we rack up these trophies. You wait.
Listen. Let us know what colour red is.
We're gonna win the box top this pre-season. Don't you worry.
Yeah, we'll have to get an Arsenal fan to continue the debate. Listen, I want to talk about another bottler. Going from a couple of bottlers there. Let's talk about Brendan Rodgers, because I know people are going to think I don't want to talk about Man United all the time on the show. I want to talk about other teams. Listen, Kish, go on. We'll start with you, mate. Brendan Rodgers, what I don't even know what to say. 14 points clear. And then he ended up 3 points behind us.
Do you know what it is, though? Like, he always goes on about his team showing lots of courage.
Character.
He showed no courage at all. Like,
or character.
No character. It's poor. To be 15 points up, from United with what was it post-lockdown? What, like 8 games left, 10 games left, something like that? The decline that they've had for me, that is literally bottle FC. Like, I'll be honest, that is really, really poor. Like, I know at the end he was trying to slide it to the other side. Say, you know what? For a team like Leicester to get European football is a big thing. Like, this is what we wanted. To be honest, at one point they were challenging for the league title. Do you remember early in the season when they said that it was Leicester against Liverpool? They have fully bottled it, in my opinion, like big time. And I do feel like it's weird because a lot of his teams that he manages, Celtic, let's be honest, even I could win the league at Celtic. Anyone could win the league at Celtic.
Kojo definitely would.
Poch would comfortably win it. So, obviously, he's won the Audi Cup in it. Put some respect to the name.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
So, obviously, I think a lot of his teams seem to by the end of the season, they seem to run out of energy. They seem to gas out, or there's something that happens to his players mentally. And I do feel like you do need to be critical of him because the slide that they've had, they should have comfortably had top 4, in my opinion. Comfortably. So,
yeah, Kojo, what do you reckon? What do you reckon, Kojo? Kish saying comfortably top 4. Brendan Rodgers doing, the standard diversion tactics. What are your thoughts? Have they bottled it, or is it still an achievement for them?
No, they bottled it, man. They bottled it. I understand that maybe they weren't expecting to be in a top 4 race this season, but you were, and you were clear, and you came back, and there's no reason why you should ever bottle that kind of lead. We've seen teams do that before anyway in the past. Last year's what's it called? Top 4 race. The gap was big, got closed again, and everyone started to do. Do you want to be here?
Last season.
Yeah.
Just had to get that in there, didn't he?
Yeah, always. Come on. Oh yeah, hold on. Sorry, just go back for 1 second. Haven't Spurs won a UEFA Cup before? So they've even seen European glory. It's mad.
We have,
crazy.
We have. Obviously.
Okay, interesting.
Was
only one club. Yeah. Okay. But yeah,
Jonathan Woodgate scored that header in it against Chelsea in extra time.
He's trying it.
In the League Cup final, I think you forgot Diego Costa. I think you forgot Diego Costa got our revenge already. So I mean,
no, we don't care about that though, innit?
Oh yeah,
sure. Yeah, but no, they have bottled it. They have bottled it. Simple as that. The gap shouldn't have been closed down. We did what we had to do and win, but they did the opposite of what they were supposed to do, and they lost. So, unfortunately for them, they got exactly what they deserve because they didn't get the job done.
Jack shit. got exactly what they deserve. Jack shit. Daniel, what do you reckon? I was about to say, what do you reckon? Obviously, the boys both in the bottle there. Just on top of that question, I just want to know what are your thoughts on Leicester this season? Have they impressed you, or do you still think they've got a long way to go to compete?
I think they've got a long way to go to compete, but I, for the sake of the debate, I will say that there's factors as to why they didn't finish in the top four. I made the prediction that they wouldn't, based off the fact that lockdown, when you come back, it's going to be class. It's going to be the players who can come back from a long period of time of not playing football and just get back into a routine. And then also looking at the fixtures. And then on top of that, the players they had available, they had their biggest players unavailable. They had Pereira unavailable for the whole of the lockdown period. They had Ndidi was actually there for most of it, but I'd say Madison was there.
Madison wasn't there. Chilwell wasn't there.
Chilwell missed the latter part of it. So Soyuncu missed the last two
as well, but that was his own fault, obviously.
Yeah, that was his own fault. So like, Leicester are a team, that work with their starting 11, their main starting 11. That's why they were doing so well. Continuity, no European commitment. So they work in that type of mode. That's what Brendan Rodgers likes, the same team. If you remember the Liverpool team that he bottled it with, I'd say that is bottling it because he was in prime position. Gerrard slipping and Demba
That was Gerrard's fault, isn't it?
No, it's Brendan Rodgers' fault as well. It's
Brendan Rodgers. Tell man to slip.
But yeah, like it's a combination of both, and then like just as a whole, Leicester have been impressive. Like Tielemans, I think is a baller, absolutely baller. I loved him from his Monaco days. I think he's kind of tailed off. If you look at Harvey Barnes, I like him as well. Good industrious player, works hard, but all these players tailed off. I think Vardy's the only kind of like very, very good player in the team.
Well, he was on a batting run as well, really.
Exactly.
Eventually finding his feet again at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Leicester. Yeah, it's just been bad. They should have finished in the top four.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Let's look at the end of the day. The way I see it is, we gave you a 14-point head start, and you fucking couldn't hold on to it. 14 points, and on top of that, the goal difference was plus 20 for them, and we actually surpassed them on goal difference, which is absolutely ridiculous as well. So for me personally, I think he's done well with what he had at the start of the season, but definitely balled it, but it is what it is. There's still a Europa League in it, so it's not doom and gloom. Anyways, let's move on to Manchester United, and then we're going to finish off on a couple of ratings. I want you guys to rate the managers in terms of out of 10, obviously expectations, and how they've come. So basically, one, they've done absolutely shit, and obviously I'll just reel off a couple of names. But anyways, before we go into that, we've got to finish on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Left man at the end. I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on other managers. Kish, we'll come to you first, mate. Obviously, the main expectation coming into the season was, of course, top four. However, no Pogba for practically the entire season. I believe he's only played 11 games. Obviously, Rashford, I'm not making excuses. You know what's happened. What do you reckon? How do you think Ole's gone?
I think he's slowly building something at United. I think that the rebuild job was massive. There was a lot of deadwood. There still is a lot of deadwood, which I believe he's probably going to, it already seems with Sanchez and a couple of other players. Yeah. Smalling as well. There's a lot of players that he's starting to move off. And I think when he signed, he knew the task at hand was massive. I think first and foremost, bringing the belief back into that United, hierarchy was a massive thing. I think even bringing the likes of Carrick, into the setup and, other people around was a good idea. Although I think, the signing of, Bruno, no one can deny it's been ridiculous how much of a change one player's made. But I've always thought that with Solskjaer, he's actually got a clear idea of what he sees. Lukaku in the summer when you sold him, there was a reason why he didn't replace Lukaku.
Danny don't agree with that.
There was a reason, with Martial, Rashford, you can see that the link-up play between those two, and now Greenwood coming in as well. I'm not saying that United are going to challenge next season. It might still take another season or two for them to challenge. But what I can say is he's definitely pointing towards the right direction. And if you look at the average age of the squad now, it's at a stage where a lot of the players will be sort of are not even near their peak yet. I don't believe Martial's at his prime yet. I don't think Rashford's at his peak. Greenwood's definitely not his peak. Bruno has still got a lot of time. Pogba, I don't think you've seen the best of Pogba yet, because I think now the pressure's off him. He's not the main player. It will be Bruno, which kind of suits Pogba, to be honest. So I do think he's building, although there's still a long way to go. But yeah, definitely, if you're a United fan, surely you can't have complaints as to the direction that you're
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Benji's just texting me now. He's one of the guys that was constantly complaining about the players. Daniel, we'll come to you because clearly you didn't agree with. I'm assuming it was the style of play. I would imagine in the comment.
Yeah. I mean, people forget that Ollie's been a manager for about 12 years now, so he's an experienced manager. He's not Arteta. He's not Lampard. That's why I get frustrated when he gets compared to these managers. He's easily the worst manager in the top 6, and that's without a shadow of a doubt. Because what you need to remember is
top 6 and we're in the top 4, bro.
The top 3, please. Can you say top 3, not top 6, top 10?
No, but what I'm looking at is as a whole. Like, what you need to remember is that Ollie. I just personally think he's fortunate enough to have had all the players come back at the right time. And if you remember, when he did have that good run when he came into the team, it's because he had all of his players available and it was all fluid football. But these players,
sorry to interrupt you. Daniel, sorry to interrupt. I've got to ask you this question on that point. But Colin, you said that about a lot of teams. I said this example. There was a Liverpool fan on Twitter was saying something to me regarding, you're only doing X, Y, and Z because of Bruno. Well, the counter argument to what you're saying right now is I completely agree with what you're saying, actually, by the way. But you can say that about Liverpool. If they take Van Dijk out of that team, you take Mane out of the team, you take out, Salah, which is what we were missing. We had no Rashford. We had no Martial for long periods. We had no Pogba. You know, there are main players that we haven't got a squad to be like obviously with Man City didn't have De Bruyne, but they had quality borderline world-class players to replace them. We had Pereira to replace Pogba. Like, is there any more for drop-off than that? Honestly, I can't think of anything worse than that.
Then can't you? Obviously, you can say that these are the main players, so you don't envisage for the fact that they would get injured. But at the end of the day, how much did you spend in the summer? You spent about £200 million, and then ended up Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. That was last season.
Yeah, 130. That's it.
130.
We
130 million pounds. Yeah, 100. No, I'm not talking about. I'm looking at it like more like who did you bring in? So you worked on the defense so much that Daniel James was the supplementary attacker that you ended up signing. Yeah. So I can't really say that I can't give the blame to Ollie because at the end of the day, that's an Ollie signing, if that makes sense. And he's been like. Obviously, I'll leave you guys. I'll leave you guys. I'll leave you guys to speak about Daniel James. But yeah. Look, do you know what? Let's look at it like this. He done tremendously well to get you to third. I think the fixtures did help. I'm not going to make that as an excuse because you still have to beat what's in front of you. So obviously, he got you to third. However, he really, really was fortunate because if he did not get into that top 4, I think a lot of United fans would have been at his throat because you see United fans are at his throat now, even though he's in the top 4. So imagine he didn't finish in the top 4. They would have been calling for his head. So.
Right. Okay, Koji, before I pass it to you, because I know you're probably going to say something similar to me. First and foremost, right, the United fans are calling for his head and this whole notion about the players and stuff. I agree with what you're saying because I know most United fans would have wanted him out. I think most United, the thing you don't get it twisted. A lot of United fans still want him out. They still don't think he's the right manager for the job. Koji, pass it to you.
Tactically, he's in it. Tactically, he's in it.
Yeah, but
just one question before. I know you're going to come back to it, but one question to you and Kojo that I want you to honestly answer is: do you believe he's the man that's going to win you a Premier League title?
No,
I don't think that's simple words.
No, but I don't think Arteta is going to win us the Champions League. I don't think Lampard's going to win you the Premier League. I
definitely think Lampard can win us.
Well,
the Premier League.
I would say that's deluded, isn't it? But
it's not deluded. I'm sorry. Compared to the teams,
but the thing is, shall I tell you what annoys me about this whole debate? And it's not you. I've heard about all, and Kojo will say we hear it from United fans. Why does Ollie not get credit, right, for beating Man City 3 times, beating Chelsea 3 times? Okay, granted, we had a bit of luck. I'll accept that. But when Arteta does it against Arsenal in the semi-finals, Arteta masterclass. Arteta's a tactical genius. Arteta's X, Y, and Z. We've done it 3 times. Done the double over Man City in the league. And I think people are forgetting how much of an achievement that is with the players that he had at disposal. Pereira was playing those games, by the way. McTominay and Fred. A lot of people say McTominay's shit. And people are saying Fred isn't that good either. So he's done the double over them. And on the second occasion, we were well within... We deserved that win completely. I don't care... Especially when McTominay scored the win at the end. So when Ollie... This is my only thing that annoys me. When Ollie does something and we beat someone... he doesn't get any credit. But when Arteta Lampard does it, they're
in a lot of the games where you were supposed to win, like Ollie went through a dogged period, and you have to remember that we weren't seeing any changes. That was the point. Games like off the top of my head, I remember Crystal Palace. Obviously, you'll be better served to tell me the games where you didn't do well. But the problem was
you can say that by every team, though.
No, but the problem was the same thing. The problem was the same thing. I'm saying Ollie Ollie hasn't shown me anything for me to go off and say, yeah, fair enough, he's won some of the big games, but I don't think he's shown me enough. For the end goal for Man United is the manager who's going to take you to win the Premier League title.
And I agree with that. Let's see what Kojo says. And
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
No, I think where we get lost with the Ole thing is we tend to forget when he came in with the winning run, he got that win against PSG. All of that, we got lost a bit in the sauce. Every United fan did. We got lost in the sauce. I think
stop joking. Sorry.
Don't worry, I was singing that with my chest at Stamford Bridge.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Anyway, no, but the point being, this year the difference that I've seen personally is, and I feel like people forget about this about Man United, is ever since we brought in the other Scottish guy after Ferguson, I don't like saying his name in my house. We haven't.
I didn't know what you're talking about for a second, but I just clocked you. But
yeah, that guy. We've always fought with him, Van Gaal, and with Mourinho, and with Solskjaer this season and a bit of last season as well. The smaller teams, we've always had this struggle about finding a way to beat them, finding a way to,
absolutely.
But at the same time, we also had that struggle against the big team. So when we beat a big team, it was genuinely luck. In football, you need luck. But it was genuinely lucky. We were not outclassing these teams. We were not outplaying these teams. We weren't tactically outsmarting these teams. There was nothing that you could say that was concrete to say, wow, United deserved to win that game. Whereas in this game, yes, against a smaller side. So let's talk about post-lockdown. Southampton should have beat them. West Ham, very poor. And then, Leicester, we beat them. But if we're being honest, us and Leicester didn't look really good in the first place.
Yeah, we were both scared, weren't we, really?
But we've also won the games the big games where we've looked very much better and we've looked much more. I go away.
Benji is defending Oli again,
So City away, we exposed the fact that they love to push forward, they love to press high, so we expose them with their pace. Started Lingard, who I don't particularly rate, but his off the ball movement is very, very key when it's going forward, especially in counter attacks. Worked well. And at Old Trafford as well, where of course City like to control the game, but we let them have the control of the ball without having to deal with too much danger. That was a victory worth looking at. Chelsea, the 4-0. Again, Chelsea wasted a lot of chances. That's very fair. But also we were very clinical in our chances when they came to us when we really needed to take them. And then at Stamford Bridge, goals were disallowed by VAR. If VAR says it's offside, it's offside. There's nothing we can do about that, but we did what we had to do to win. With these games, we weren't winning them beforehand like this. So that's the improvement that we've done. So now we've come back from lockdown and we went on this run of actually dominating the teams that we should, on paper, be beating. And that's where I'm starting to see the things are starting to change now. I'm starting to see the work is ticking, because you're not going to win leagues beating the big boys and then doing nothing against the smaller boys when you need to. And vice versa. You need to be able to find a consistency against every other team.
It's easy to say that, because one thing I think is key is, if you remember David Moyes' press conference, he was giving praise to Oli, but he said the difference between me and Oli is that Oli was given time, and I
who
agree.
gives a shit?
No,
it's the truth. It's the truth.
No, it's not.
It's the truth.
The reason
Oli found him. Hold on. Let me just finish and then reply to me. I know Man United fans are going to wholeheartedly disagree with me, and that's fine. But what I'm going to tell you now is Oli's found himself in the right place at the right time with the right players. A lot of these players aren't his players.
Players. This team inherited shit.
Listen.
Oh my God. A lot of the players he has aren't his players.
Which is fine.
But he's brought the best at Marcel Rashford.
So hold on. Just if I break it down, because I think you're just reacting to me. If I break it down, you've agreed with me that a lot of the players aren't his players in the starting 11, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Isn't that being in the right place at the right time? He's got
the same players.
He's got
the players doing the right thing in the first place. The same players weren't doing the right thing in the first place. David Moyes inherited champions.
Don't say that. Oh my Lord! Every single United fan knows. Alex Ferguson won the league with one of the worst squads in Premier League history.
Regardless,
it doesn't matter.
It's not regardless. It does matter. It's everything.
That's
everything.
Yeah, but you don't go from there to about ready to finish that seventh.
Let's keep it real.
I think you're being so unfair.
I do feel, although I
let Kish
have different opinions to this. I think, yes, he inherited a squad which has a lot of potential and ability. Don't get me wrong. Yes, from the
What about Oli? Sorry, or Moyes?
You know, he has a very good squad. Can you hear me? Okay.
Wait, he's talking about Oli or Moyes?
Yeah. So he did inherit a good squad. Don't get me wrong. But then you can't say to me that the likes of Martial and Rashford that he's not improved them, because he was a striker, right? He was a top quality striker in his playing days.
Don't roll your eyes, Daniel. He was quality up front.
You can see with the likes.
He's doing what Benji does.
I know. Benji's.
He was a quality striker. He was a
weren't these players good before Oli came? That's my point.
No, they weren't performing at that level.
You can't not give him credit for what he's done to the likes of Rashford and Martial, because they are positional play, and in terms of them inside the box, they are a lot more clinical now as players than they've ever been in the past. And you only have to look at their movement in behind the defenses and the amount of goals alone that they score. Isn't it strange how Martial has not scored this amount of goals since his first season? In fact, it's taken him 4 years, I think, at United, or 3-4 years
to get 50 goals.
To the stage where really, after his first season, he should have improved, but there was obviously some reason as to why he didn't. So the fact that someone like Oli has unlocked that and actually put him up front, and sort of the amount of sort of opportunities that he's finishing off himself, you've got to give someone as a coach. I'm not saying as a manager he's fantastic, but as a coach, you've got to say, has he improved some of the players in that team? You can't say he hasn't. He has improved the players there. So
right, okay, boys. Listen. I'm gonna finish the Oli talk, because I hear what you said, Daniel. Actually, you're right. I did overreact. He did inherit a good, okay team. However, he's improved it. That's what I should have said. But anyways, the players aren't shit. I got my Moyes got the best of me for a change.
Moyes got all the time he deserved. To get that guy the heck out of here. He was awful. He got slapped home. No. You know, I'm not gonna get into it, because if I go into it, we're gonna be here for another hour. I don't want to do that.
Allow Moyes.
I've got one question. Go on. Do you reckon has Bruno saved Oli's job?
Yes,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I don't think any United fans can say no to that.
Would he have got the sack at the end of the season? Do you
Probably.
And that's my point.
Would have been their top four.
Exactly.
But that's not because he's a bad manager, so to speak. That's because the expectation of the club is to get top four. And I think that's the same with any other manager. Look at the other managers that have been sacked. Moyes didn't get top four. That's why he got sacked. And it was mathematically impossible for him to get it. Van Gaal, the way for him to win the FA Cup, they knew he couldn't get top four. They sacked him still on the day of him winning the FA Cup. Same with Jose. That's just how the club it works. Do I agree with it?
I agree with you.
I don't.
Last point. All I'm saying is every single United fan knows that their expectations are so high, and they obviously want to keep going. And if you're telling me that you don't believe that Oli is the man for you to win the Premier League title, to take you to the Premier League title, then there's a problem there. Because when are you going to sack him? When he consistently gives you?
I never said that.
No, the reason I've said that is because I can't cold-heartedly say he's better than Pep or Klopp. And on the flip side, I didn't expect come and start the season that he was capable of getting into top three. Now the additions of potentially Sancho and some other quality players, hopefully they can have a similar effect as Bruno. So who knows?
I think it's about laying on the foundations. Ollie's not the man for United to win the league, but I think in terms of foundations and starting that process, I do believe that he'll put them to a stage where I think by the time they do let go of him or he gets sacked,
similar opportunity, really. He set the foundations. Hopefully, we've got a young team. Anyways, listen, let's go off Man United, because this is what I do want to talk about, because I knew Kojo actually would get involved in this conversation. Anyways, obviously this is about the Premier League, and of course we've not spoken about the relegated teams because they're relevant. No, I'm joking. I did want to talk about two things, okay, before we finish off the podcast. I know it's very long, but I've got to finish on this. Okay, the first one is regarding Bournemouth and them potentially suing because of the VAR decision, obviously Hawkeye. What are your thoughts on that? And the second one is VAR, because obviously this is the first time VAR's happened. Let's not go on for too long, because obviously I know it's been already almost an hour already. We'll start with VAR. So this is the first time VAR has been in the Premier League. Kish, we'll come with you first. Do you think it's been successful, unsuccessful? You know, what are your overriding thoughts on VAR?
To be honest, I do feel like I think that we can all agree this season that the quality of refereeing in the Premier League, and many people have said
embarrassing,
has been really poor. It's been the worst that I've ever seen it. Mm-hmm. But I think part of that is down to VAR, because referees now have got lazy, I think, in my opinion. Because, for example, the one where Bournemouth are suing, Villa for, I think VAR they're suing, aren't they? Yeah, everyone knew that was a goal. So why is the referee waited for his watch to like ping for him to know that it's a goal or not when everyone on that pitch knows it's a clear goal? And this is where the problem lies, where referees are becoming so reliant on VAR that it's actually ruining the quality of the refs. And I think that's where the issue lies. So do I believe it's been a success? Not at all. And would I prefer if VAR wasn't a part of the game? Yes, I actually would, to be honest. I think it's not improved it at all. And I think, are we still having debates about refereeing decisions and decisions over VAR? We're actually having more debates now than we were ever having beforehand. And that's, VAR was brought in to stop those mistakes. So the fact that it's not, I just don't see, a win out of it, to be honest.
Okay. So Kish has gone quite strongly in terms of, it not being a success. We'll come to you first, Daniel. What are your thoughts? What do you reckon on that matter?
Yeah, just to keep it short and sweet, I think if I was to give it a grade, I'd probably give it like a D+. I think the idea makes sense. I see what they're trying to do. I didn't give it a pass because, like Kisha said, I think we're having way too many more debates than we were having before. And on top of that, there's silly rules. The handball rule was silly. Like, there needs to be more common sense applied for referees.
The
Another
one against
thing,
Sheffield United with Lucas Moura, do you remember that?
silly. Exactly. Silly.
That was blatant handball, to be fair, though, Kish.
Yeah.
It was literally foul.
He meant to do it. It was go through ball, to be fair. To be tried to get away with it.
Even I think West Ham against Sheffield United as well. Declan Rice, they said it was handball.
It
was crazy. His hand was literally by his side, like nothing he could do. But stuff like that. Even second yellow cards, you can challenge a red card, a straight red, but you can't challenge a second yellow. That makes no sense. So for me, there's just a lot of things that still need to be worked on. The referees obviously need to be improved, but VAR, Bournemouth have every right because that game, that 3 points, that if they win that game, they stay up. So.
It's becoming a joke. I mean, if someone's nose is offside, that's classed as offside. It's like, come on, man. Seriously.
So that's my take on it, man.
All right, Kojo, just before, obviously, ask you, I want to ask you this as well, Kojo. The boys have both said quite bluntly that VAR is an issue, etc. But my question to you is it not the referees that are manning VAR that are inept? Because the technology itself isn't actually the problem. Because at the end of the day, the technology doesn't say, it's X, Y, and Z. It's the referee that makes the decision. And like Kish said, the referee's been embarrassing. So isn't it the referees that need to improve, not VAR?
Yeah, well, it's still human error, isn't it?
Exactly.
They watch it, and some of the decisions, not even just handballs, it's still about even fouls in general. Just some of the most laughable decisions. I mean, I'm going to bring up R1. How do you watch Bruno Fernandes step on the Aston Villa player's leg and then give him a penalty for that? I mean,
that's what I mean. Exactly.
It's just comical.
Saying that.
It's comical. It's comical. So
there's a free kick to them, that, to be fair, and a yellow card to Bruno, in my personal opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's comical, and these are the reasons why we hate VAR, because it's just a disaster here. It's a disaster in Spain. It's a disaster. Like the people that use it just don't know how to use it. And it comes to, you got theories like they really want to protect the referee on the pitch, so they're going to stick with his decision because
they don't even go to the screen. The screen's there. They don't even go.
They did for Man United game, and we got the decision. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was like late. I think in total.
Was it too long ago? Was it?
Yeah, it was during lockdown. I can't remember what game it is, but I think in total,
we went to the screen and we got the right decision.
Yeah,
the one that I liked was when the referee went to go and check Nketiah's red card. That made sense. He went to
he went to the screen for that,
and he saw that and he said, "Yeah, cool."
But then you can't do it for yellow cards. So, for example, the Kovacic decision over the weekend, they couldn't VAR that, and that was
bullshit.
That's like even appealing decisions in general anyway. When your player gets a straight red, you can appeal it. But if it's two yellows, you don't get that chance. So it's all a mess up. And also, you send off Nketiah. Trent Alexander-Arnold made a worse foul a week after, and you didn't go to the camera and check that. So where is the consistency? Where does it work?
Have a former footballer in VAR? Why don't they have a form of? It's like the
because
referees
the former footballers
biased.
they don't know what they're talking about half of them. Have you seen some of them say? Have you seen the former footballers saying Martial needs to get sold?
Paul Merson would literally shaft it like big time.
Oh my god. Yo, listen, I'm gonna have to wrap it up there because it's gone on for longer than I expected. But let us know what you think regarding VAR. Obviously, we spoke about the color of London. Let us know: is it blue like Daniel suggests, or is it red? I'll pretend Keishan said it, or is it claret and blue like Kojo because man doesn't want to get beefed up in the end. Let us know down below also regarding other topics. Just grade the managers for us. You know, is Ollie going to win the title? That kind of stuff. Apart from that, drop a like, subscribe, and show the boys some love. Their links will be in the description to their socials. Apart from that, it's been your boy Usmaan. I normally say come on United, but I can't say that.
Mourinho for the league.
Yeah, that.
Spurs.
To be fair, Audi Cup FC.